The 1970s wasn't just about disco balls and muscle cars. It was the decade when Hollywood got brutally honest, maybe too honest, about war. While the world remembers Apocalypse Now and The Deer Hunter, there's an entire vault of movies that Hollywood quietly buried. These films were dangerous, not because of explosions, but because of truth. They questioned governments, mocked military glory, and showed soldiers not as heroes, but as haunted human beings. Some were banned, some were sabotaged, and some were so raw that real veterans walked out of theaters in tears. Today, directors like Tarantino, Spielberg, and Nolan still pull inspiration from these forgotten 70s masterpieces. So let's count down 15 forgotten 70s war films that still hit different. Number 15. Twilight's Last Gleaming, 1977. Imagine Dr. Strangelove without the humor. A decorated U.S. general seizes control of a nuclear missile base and threatens to launch unless the government reveals secret Vietnam War documents. The scariest part? He's not insane, he's convinced he's saving the country. Burt Lancaster delivers one of his best performances as a man torn between patriotism and moral outrage. Director Robert Aldrich used groundbreaking split-screen editing, showing 4 perspectives of the crisis unfolding at once. It's chaotic, nerve-wracking, and brilliantly immersive. The Pentagon absolutely hated it. They called it dangerously plausible and even threatened legal action against the studio. The film's fictional classified papers, Doctrine 303, mirrored the real Pentagon papers so closely that members of Congress demanded to know how the writers got that information. The movie was too politically raw for its time. It bombed at the box office, but its themes, government secrecy, moral duty, and the threat of nuclear power, hit harder today than ever. Modern filmmakers have called it prophetic. Paul Greengrass even credited it as inspiration for United 93. This isn't just a thriller, it's a warning. Number 14. The Mackenzie Break, 1970. Now let's flip the script. Most POW films show Allied heroes escaping German camps. The Mackenzie Break does the opposite. It's the Germans who are breaking out. Set in a remote Scottish camp holding elite U-boat officers, this film follows a brilliant German captain planning a complex escape and the British officer trying to stop him. It's not cartoonish good guys versus bad guys. Both sides are intelligent, resourceful, and desperate. Director Lamont Johnson shot it in real Scottish prison sites, with technical input from former guards and actual POWs. The tension feels painfully real. The actors even dug real tunnels using the same methods German prisoners used in World War II, shoveling dirt by hand, working in pitch darkness, risking collapse. One scene where a tunnel caves in left several actors gasping for breath, and Aldrich kept that footage in. Critics praised it for showing the war's psychological chess game instead of just explosions. Audiences, however, weren't ready to empathize with German characters. The movie barely made its budget back, but its influence lingers. Christopher Nolan has said its multiple perspectives helped inspire the structure of Dunkirk. Number 13. Zulu Dawn, 1979. Before Black Hawk Down, before Glory, there was Zulu Dawn, the story of a catastrophic British defeat no one wanted to remember. This prequel to the 1964 classic, Zulu, recounts the Battle of Isandlwana, where 20,000 Zulu warriors destroyed an entire British column. No redemption, no rescue, just annihilation. The production itself was massive, over 13,000 Zulu extras, many descendants of the real warriors. The South African government provided tanks, artillery, and military equipment, making it the largest war shoot since World War II. Peter O'Toole plays the arrogant commander Lord Chelmsford, while real Zulu chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi portrays his own ancestor, King Cetshwayo. The film meticulously recreated the uniforms, tactics, and mistakes that led to Britain's humiliation, including the real-life ammo supply blunder that doomed hundreds. British audiences hated seeing their empire portrayed as incompetent, but today, historians call it one of the most accurate battlefield reconstructions ever made. It's used at the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst to teach officers how not to lead. Zulu Dawn didn't just depict defeat, it exposed the arrogance that caused it. Number 12. Too Late the Hero, 1970. If The Dirty Dozen was about redemption, Too Late the Hero is about futility. Michael Caine and Cliff Robertson star as soldiers sent on a suicide mission in the Pacific to destroy a Japanese radio post. What starts as a simple operation spirals into chaos, betrayal, and meaningless death. Director Robert Aldrich refused to sugarcoat anything. There are no hero speeches, no stirring music. Soldiers die mid-sentence. Victories turn into disasters. The heroes realize they're pawns in a pointless mission. The production itself was hell. Filmed in tropical heat, several cast members collapsed. Cliff Robertson got a parasite. Henry Fonda suffered heat stroke. And during one ambush scene, a real explosion injured multiple actors. Aldrich left it in the final cut for realism. Japan banned the movie for over a decade because it showed Allied troops executing surrendering Japanese soldiers, something based on true, suppressed reports. The result? It bombed. But Quentin Tarantino calls it the most nihilistic war movie ever made. In other words, too real for 1970. Number 11. Go Tell the Spartans, 1978. This film didn't just predict the Vietnam War's failure, it diagnosed it. Released while the war was still raging, Go Tell the Spartans stars Burt Lancaster as a jaded officer ordered to hold an abandoned village in 1964, before America's full-scale involvement began. Everything that would go wrong later, language barriers, unreliable allies, meaningless victories, happens here first. Lancaster believed so strongly in the film's message that he worked for free to get it made. With a budget of just $1.5 million, the filmmakers built their own Vietnamese village and hired actual refugees as extras. One haunting scene shows a mass grave from the French colonial war, a literal warning sign that history repeats itself. Critics called it one of the most intelligent Vietnam films ever made, but American audiences called it unpatriotic. The film made just $2 million. Years later, even former Defense Secretary Robert McNamara admitted, "If I'd seen this film in 1964, maybe things would have been different." That's not movie hype, that's history speaking. Number 9. Force 10 from Navarone, 1978. After The Guns of Navarone, this long-delayed sequel had everything stacked against it: a cursed production, clashing egos, and a cursed set. Robert Shaw and Harrison Ford lead a commando unit in Yugoslavia, tasked with blowing up a bridge and stopping a Nazi spy. 3 directors quit. Filming was interrupted by government interference. Shaw's alcoholism worsened. Ford hated the script. Yet somehow it worked. The production used a real dam demolition by the Yugoslav government for its finale, capturing the largest real explosion ever filmed at the time. No CGI, no models, just pure destruction. It may not have lived up to the original, but its authenticity gives it lasting power. Even Harrison Ford later admitted, "It was better than I gave it credit for." Number 8. Aces High, 1976. When this film premiered, actual World War I veterans left theaters in tears. Set in 1917, it follows a young pilot assigned to a British squadron where the average life expectancy is 3 weeks. His commander, played by Malcolm McDowell, hides his trauma behind arrogance and alcohol. Here's what sets it apart. The aerial scenes are real. No miniatures, no CGI, no trick photography. The filmmakers used functioning WII planes flying real maneuvers at dangerous altitudes. 3 pilots were hospitalized during filming, and the fear you see on screen? Totally real. Critics praised it as devastatingly authentic, but British audiences rejected it for portraying their heroes as broken men. Today, Aces High is respected for what it really is: a chilling portrait of courage eaten alive by inevitability.
Scorsese calls it the most honest flying film ever made.
Number 7. Breakthrough, 1979. This German-American production broke Hollywood taboo. It told World War II through the eyes of German soldiers. Breakthrough follows a group of weary Wehrmacht troops caught between advancing Americans and their own fanatical SS officers. It was filmed twice, once in English, once in German, with different casts for each version. Real veterans appeared in both, sometimes standing beside men they had fought decades earlier. The result was controversy on both sides. Americans called it Nazi sympathy. Germans called it whitewashing. The most powerful scene shows German and American soldiers reluctantly fighting side by side against SS fanatics, a real event from the war's final days. That scene was cut from the American release, but kept in the German version. It was a hit in Europe, a flop in the US, and a huge influence on Spielberg. He later admitted to screening it while preparing Saving Private Ryan to study how to humanize the enemy without excusing them.
Number 6. Overlord, 1975. A poetic masterpiece disguised as a war film. Overlord tells the story of a young British soldier from training to D-Day, but the genius lies in how it blends real World War II footage with new scenes so seamlessly you can't tell where history ends and fiction begins. Director Stuart Cooper gained exclusive access to the Imperial War Museum archives, viewing over 3,000 hours of footage. He even used vintage 1930s lenses to perfectly match the old film stock. The main actor, Brian Sterner, went full method, living on actual World War II rations and losing 24 pounds before shooting. When the D-Day landing sequence arrives, it's both beautiful and horrifying, soldiers fading into smoke and sea. The movie made just $18,000 and disappeared for years. Then Martin Scorsese found a copy in the 90s, restored it, and called it a forgotten jewel of British cinema. Christopher Nolan later cited it as a key influence on Dunkirk.
Number 5. The Blockhouse, 1973. Peter Sellers, best known for comedy, delivers his darkest role ever. Based on a true story, The Blockhouse follows 6 men trapped underground after a bombing. They have food and wine, but no escape. Shot entirely inside a real bunker by candlelight, the claustrophobia is overwhelming. Crew members developed anxiety and had to quit mid-production. The story unfolds over years as the men lose track of time, argue, hallucinate, and die one by one. Sellers gives a haunting performance that feels almost too real. The film divided critics. Some called it brilliant, others unbearable. But Tarantino keeps a personal print and screens it for filmmakers, calling it the purest depiction of psychological horror ever put on film. Number 4. Conduct Unbecoming, 1975. A courtroom drama wrapped inside a colonial nightmare. In a British cavalry regiment in India, the assault of an officer's widow sparks an internal investigation. But what begins as a scandal unravels into corruption, class conflict, and institutional cover-ups. The cast is elite. Michael York, Richard Attenborough, Trevor Howard, Stacy Keach. Filmed in real colonial mansions, the authenticity drips from every frame. The movie exposed the hypocrisy of military honor as a code used to hide abuse. British veterans groups called it anti-military propaganda. Indian audiences called it justice. It flopped, but today it's seen as a bold, necessary takedown of imperial arrogance, decades before such criticism was mainstream. Number 3. Raid on Entebbe, 1977. In 1976, Israeli commandos executed one of the most daring rescue missions in history, storming Uganda's Entebbe airport to save over 100 hostages. Just months later, Raid on Entebbe brought it to the screen and got every detail right. Shot in only 28 days, the filmmakers worked with Israeli military advisors and even used the same model aircraft used in the real operation. The cast was stacked. Charles Bronson, Peter Finch, Yaphet Kotto as Idi Amin, and James Woods. Despite being made for TV, it felt cinematic, gritty, fast-paced, and shockingly real. Roger Ebert praised it for avoiding propaganda,
saying it showed heroism without hysteria. It went on to inspire the entire modern rescue thriller genre, from Argo to Zero Dark 30. Number 2. The Passage, 1979. Anthony Quinn stars as a Basque shepherd smuggling a family through the Pyrenees, hunted by Malcolm McDowell as a sadistic Nazi officer. McDowell's performance is so chilling that the crew refused to eat lunch with him. Filmed in the frozen Alps, temperatures dropped to minus 30 degrees Celsius. Quinn, in his 60s, insisted on doing all his own climbing stunts and got injured multiple times. The torture scenes were so disturbing that censors demanded cuts. United Artists buried the release, terrified it would damage their reputation. Critics dismissed it at the time, but Tarantino later cited McDowell's character as the blueprint for the modern, charming Nazi archetype, from Schindler's List to Inglourious Basterds.
Number 1. Cross of Iron, 1977. Sam Peckinpah's Cross of Iron isn't just a war film, it's an open wound. Set on the Eastern Front in 1943, it follows Sergeant Steiner, played by James Coburn, leading German troops trying to survive the collapse of the front lines. Peckinpah's signature slow-motion violence hits harder here than anywhere else. Bullets tear through mud, flesh, and conscience alike. The production nearly killed him. Filmed in Yugoslavia, Peckinpah battled pneumonia, alcoholism, and studio interference. He collapsed twice on set, but refused to quit. Audiences didn't know what to make of a film that showed German soldiers as human and their officers as monsters. Americans walked out. Europeans gave standing ovations. Orson Welles sent Peckinpah a telegram. "I've seen your masterpiece. Unfortunately, no one else will." Spielberg later admitted, "I stole several techniques from Cross of Iron for Saving Private Ryan." That says it all. So, to conclude, these weren't just movies, they were cinematic confessions. They stripped war of its glory and left only the human wreckage. They showed us that courage, fear, and morality don't belong to one flag. Many of these directors nearly ruined themselves to tell these stories, and most audiences weren't ready to hear them. But now, decades later, they hit harder than ever. So here's the question. Are these raw, morally complex 70s war films actually better than today's CGI blockbusters? Or do modern audiences just prefer cleaner heroes and simpler stories? Drop your thoughts below, because some truths about war never go out of style.